Hey, greetings and salutations, everybody. Today's video is the perfect companion to my other video on Neil Young's Old Man. Now, in that video, which I'll link in the description, we talked about how Neil Young revealed empathy across generations. Well, this song, The Cat's in the Cradle by Harry Chapin, shows what happens when that empathy comes too late. That's coming up next on Music Heals.
A child arrived just the other day.
Harry Chapin's The Cat's in the Cradle came out in 1974. I know, that's before some of you were born. It's one of the most enduring and one of the most psychologically rich songs in popular music. This song isn't just about a father and a son. It's about time, connection, and the painful cycles that we unconsciously repeat in our relationships.
To pay. He learned to walk while I was away.
At its heart, Cats in the Cradle is a study in what's called intergenerational transmission. That's how emotional patterns, particularly neglect and emotional distance, get passed down from parent to child. The father in the son is loving, but chronically unavailable. He tells himself that work, success, and providing are expressions of love. Yet in doing so, he misses the actual connection that his son craves.
He learned to walk while I was away.
He sings, "He learned to walk while I was away." And that line cuts deep. It's not just about physical absence. It's emotional. The child learns early that his father's presence is conditional. That love comes with waiting. Psychologically, that's how an avoidant attachment pattern begins. When a child's emotional needs are repeatedly unmet, they learn to turn inward. So they stop reaching out. They turn to self-soothing, but at the cost of connection. So yeah, this line carries deep psychological weight, both in its literal and symbolic meaning. So the son learns independence. So without his father's presence, what else is he going to do? And his father's absence foreshadows the emotional distance that will later define their relationship.
He said, "Not today, I got a lot to do." He said, "That's okay."
The father's refrain, "I don't have time right now." This is a rationalization, a defense mechanism that lets him avoid guilt. It's easier to say, "I'm busy," than to face the discomfort of intimacy, especially if you've never learned how to be emotionally open yourself. This father loves through providing, not presence. But the child isn't asking for toys. He's asking for time. Many people who grow up with emotionally distant models of love, they learn to equate productivity or responsibility with worth. And they're unconsciously avoiding emotional vulnerability.
I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time.
So as the son grows older, the roles reverse. The song says, "He'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me." That's the most painful realization of all. When you finally see that the pattern you created has come full circle. This is what Freud called repetition compulsion, the unconscious drive to repeat what's familiar even when it hurts. The son isn't trying to reject his father. He's simply living out the emotional blueprint that he was given. From an existential perspective, the song is about irreversible time. The father realizes too late that success, achievement, and providing don't replace presence. There's no amount of money or apology that can buy back the moments that build a bond. The song endures because it touches something universal, the tension between achievement and connection, ambition and intimacy, doing and being. What happens when we confuse providing for someone with being present with them? And that's why this song breaks hearts decades later. Because on some level, we all understand the fear of realizing that we waited too long to be present. In therapy, I often see this pattern show up in subtle ways. We repeat what we don't repair. We become the emotional mirror of what we grew up with until we notice it, name it, and choose differently. And that's what this song gives us an opportunity to do. Cats in the Cradle isn't just a sad song. It's a call to awareness. And that's so important because awareness can interrupt repetition. So I encourage you, pause, connect, and be present before life's moments slip by. And don't forget to check out the perfect companion to this song, which is Neil Young's Old Man. I've got a video on that I'll have a link in the description. These songs explore similar psychological and relational themes, but from different angles. It's almost like two sides of the same story about fathers, sons, and the passage of time. Well, thanks for joining me today. If you enjoy exploring how music reveals and heals the human mind, would you please make sure and subscribe for more psychological reflections on the songs that shape us. Until next time, take care of yourselves and take a moment for someone you love. For those of you that want to go deeper, I want to share some practical insight with you that can be helpful because, one of the deepest emotional wounds that a person can carry is growing up without a good parent. And not having a good parent doesn't just mean someone who was absent or even someone who was abusive. It can also mean a parent who was physically there but emotionally unavailable. Maybe they were critical or inconsistent. As adults, people who went through that often say things like, "I should have been over this by now," or "Why do I still feel so broken?" But here's what I always remind them. Your struggles aren't character flaws. They're the echoes of unmet needs. Healing begins when you stop judging those needs and start understanding them. When a parent doesn't provide consistent love or safety, the child's nervous system adapts. They learn to scan for danger instead of comfort. They learn to hide emotions to keep peace, or they work endlessly for approval because love felt conditional. And those patterns don't just disappear because we grow up. They follow us into adult relationships, into the work environment, and they affect our self-image. So when I work with someone like this, I help them to see that their current struggles, trust issues, perfectionism, emotional distance, it actually makes perfect sense given what they've had to survive. A big part of healing involves something that we call reparenting. And that means learning to give yourself the care, validation, and protection you didn't get as a child. It starts with small, simple shifts in your inner dialogue. Things like, you're allowed to rest. You did the best you could. You don't have to earn love anymore. Therapy can certainly help, but so can journaling, mindfulness, or even talking kindly to yourself in moments of pain. So over time, you start to build a new internal parent, a voice that starts this steady, kind, and safe dialogue. Now, here's something important. Reparenting isn't about doing it all alone. Healing happens in connection. For someone who never had a dependable parent, trust can feel terrifying. But every healthy relationship, every supportive therapist, every person who listens without judgment, each of those moments teaches your nervous system this is what safety feels like. Learning to set boundaries, say no, and accept care, those are all parts of building the emotional home that you didn't have growing up. So if you know someone who struggles with the effects of not having a good parent, or if that person is you, here's the truth. You can't change what you didn't get, but you can learn to give it to yourself now. Healing isn't about blaming your parents. It's about freeing yourself from the patterns that they left behind. You're not broken. You're just carrying a story that needs compassion, not criticism. And as you begin to heal, something beautiful happens. You become the parent you've always needed. Strong, kind, and full of grace. And that version of you, that's where real freedom begins.